Hello, Patriots. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and welcome back to the Partisan Patriot podcast. My name is Corbin Williams, and today we're going over two big things happening in the news this week. We've got Donald Trump and his 20-point plan for the Middle East, and we've got the Supreme Court rejecting Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal. Let's get into it. So for those of you who don't know who Ghislaine Maxwell is, she was Jeffrey Epstein's main associate in all of the crimes that you hear about Jeff Epstein. She was there in most of them. Ghislaine Maxwell, very big component in the entire Jeffrey Epstein scandal, and she was charged in 2022 for her role in grooming and sexually exploiting young girls to participate in Jeffrey Epstein's sexual trafficking. She was sentenced 240 months, which is 20 years, in 2022. The Supreme Court this week denied her appeal. The appeal for her case states that Ghislaine Maxwell should have been protected by a plea made by Epstein in 2008 stating immunity for him and any potential conspirators that were a part of his crimes, his alleged crimes at the time. In 2008, he makes this plea deal stating that, I'll give you the information long as I don't get prosecuted and the people around me don't get prosecuted. Well, he signed this plea deal in 2008, and this was supposed to, state immunity for him and all of his associates. Well, unfortunately, when you're a pedophile, we don't like protecting you, unless you're Ted Cruz. So there was a legal argument here because in the plea deal it says the United States couldn't charge any of the associates. Well, that plea deal was made in Florida. If you know anything about constitutional law, you'll understand that individual states can't hold the entire country to their rulings. In other words, circuit courts can't bind federal courts. So if the federal court were to make a different decision than a state court, that new ruling becomes the supreme law of the land, especially if it directly contradicts a state or even municipal statute. And that is exactly the case here. This is exactly what happened. Florida had a plea that says Ghislaine Maxwell couldn't be charged, nor could any of the associates of Jeffrey Epstein, and the federal law said otherwise. The argument made by attorneys in Florida states that the plea deal was made in Florida and didn't bind any other federal circuits. And so the Supreme Court just denied Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal. Now, this sounds like a good thing. This sounds like our Supreme Court is doing just their job. At this point, though, what are they helping? By not hearing Ghislaine Maxwell's plea, by just hushing her up, are they saving any kids from being sexually exploited? They're not. Because you can't tell me that through the entire Jeff Epstein scandal, the two people to go to jail were Jeff Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Those were the only two guilty individuals. That's crazy. The Epstein list is out there, and it's being covered up very heavily. Unfortunately, for the majority of candidates in the United States politics, you're either racist or a pedophile. Those are your two options when you're voting in the United States politics. Because our policies have been ruined by horrendous individuals who only seek to benefit themselves. And they enter politics with this view, and they ruin the world for their benefit and for their gain. There's people like this on either side of the political aisle. You can point fingers all day, but at the end of the day, there's racist pedophiles on both sides. So the Supreme Court, by not hearing her, legally it's fine. I mean, personally, you ask me, I think successful rehabilitation for pedophiles looks more like a lobotomy. But seriously, it's like the Supreme Court is putting their foot down and we're doing a great job. No, you're not, dude. The entire Epstein scandal, you prosecuted two people. One of them committed suicide, is dead now. And the other, you've just denied a plea. There are more pedophiles out there that were a part of this that we're just refusing to look at. This isn't a radical W for the United States government by any means. I mean, we're just telling someone no. There's no forward momentum with this idea of silencing pedophiles. It's like, it's still happening. The Supreme Court isn't saving any children. This isn't a victory for the U.S. government. If we want to stop pedophilia on a corporate level, like the Jeff Epstein scandal, you need to arrest everybody and you need to prosecute everybody, because until you do, these people are still out there. They're still promoting corporate scandals and sexually exploiting children. So that's that story. We'll move on now to Donald Trump's 20-point plan for the Middle East. Now, Trump and Netanyahu recently have been in cahoots about the war in Gaza, which is getting very interesting. The United Nations has recently, I think it was a couple weeks ago, recently condemned Israel for their genocide. They're acknowledging it for the first time, the United Nations, as a genocide. You've heard a lot of people at college campuses in the United States, at UCLA. There's been marches, there's been protests about the horrendous ethnic cleansing genocide that's been happening in Gaza. But up until just a couple weeks ago, it's all been, personal opinions. But now the United Nations has come out and condemned Israel for their genocidal actions and racial ethnic cleansing in Gaza. So the conflict is getting very interesting. For me as a Christian, it's a lot easier that this whole situation is, you have two groups, both of them reject Christ, both of them disrespect Christians, and at the end of the day, I don't care. You both wear similar goofy hats. I don't understand why we consider Israel to be our number one ally. Sure, there's people who need our help, but why are we putting Israel over other people that need our help, particularly people in our own country? So mind you, our government is still shut down at the moment, at the time that this is all happening. Our government is shut down, but we do not halt by any means aid to Israel. We're deploying troops to Venezuela. We're activating the National Guard and sending them all over the country. Our government is shut down. We're not paying our armed forces. I don't know if you know this, guys. Our armed forces don't get paid during a government shutdown. So, put all that in context for you. We have Donald Trump and his 20-point plan. So what is Donald Trump's 20-point plan? Well, just some highlights from it. We want an immediate ceasefire, hostage exchanges, Hamas amnesty, which means individuals who are living in Gaza, Palestinians, or even Israelis living in Gaza, will have the ability to leave as it goes under reconstruction. International governance. There's going to be made a peace board, basically, made up of Palestinian governance and international experts, they say. De-radicalization and disarmament of Gaza, meaning get rid of the terrorism. The radical jihadists that only want to kill people, get rid of them. We have economic redevelopment, humanitarian aid, international stabilization forces to secure a specific border between Gaza and Israel and the rest of Israel. So those are the key points of Donald Trump's 20-point plan. On September 29th, Israel says they want to comply. And so we say, okay, we're going to mobilize the 20-point plan. We're going to send it to the Middle East. We're going to send it to Palestine. We're going to send it to Hamas Authority. And we're just going to see what they think. Well, immediately, they didn't condemn it. So terrorists are willing to comply, at least a little bit. They didn't immediately want to shout death to America and bomb us. That's great. That's good news. And Bibi Netanyahu says this means nothing. As of September 29th, however, saying that this is a good plan, Mr. President. This is going to help us. This falls right in line with our values and the future that we want for Gaza. September 29th, Israel and the United States hold a press conference in the White House, and Israel is all on board, it seems. Because they claim that it falls right in hand with the Abraham Accords, that this is all great, and it aligns with many Israeli goals. Goals such as getting rid of Hamas, exchanging hostages, ensuring that Gaza will never threaten the safety of Israel again, and place a non-Palestinian governance over Gaza. Now, here's the problem. Israel says that they don't want Hamas or Palestinian governance in the governing ability of Gaza at the end of this. The reason that is important is because directly in Trump's 20-point plan, we have an international governance board, a peace board made up of Palestinians and international experts. So that's already something that we see that Israel and the United States butting heads on. The United States simply wants to end the conflict. Again, I don't know why, it's just one of our goals. Trump says he's going to end all the wars. This is just a personal goal of the president's, I suppose, because beyond that, we don't have any reason to want to end this war. Who cares? Got off track there a little bit. But anyways, back to the story. If Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it, then do everything to counter it, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way, but it will be done.
If Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it and then basically do everything to counter it, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way, but it will be done.
This is a thing that the president of Israel said to the president of the United States, Bibi Netanyahu, to Donald Trump, saying that if your plan doesn't work, we are going to finish it the easy way or the hard way. It will be done. Israel is getting closer and closer and closer to just saying, forget all of you. We're going to bomb all of it and take back our land, which makes sense. Okay, put this in perspective. If Mexico, after our annexation of Texas, decided they were just going to start bombing us, that's not good. What are we going to do about this? Probably not be so nice to Mexico. It makes sense that Israel wants this to be finished. So there's been a change in our story, ladies and gentlemen. I was in the middle of editing this video, and I got an emergency news alert, a breaking news alert, and evidently Hamas has accepted the deal, and we're moving into the first phase of Trump's 20-point plan, which is to, exchange hostages and promote an immediate ceasefire between the two groups. Now, a second ago, at least in the video, you will have heard me say, or quote Benjamin Netanyahu, who said that this progress meant nothing and that there was nothing to be excited about. Trump was in the middle of a meeting, and then Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, gave Trump a little note and basically broke him the news that Hamas is moving forward. And, I mean, as if it wasn't a win before, it's definitely a big win now. Diplomatically, this is going to be a huge success. He's really good at diplomacy, but I still wish he would hone in and help Americans first. But this is definitely a win for Donald Trump and the Trump administration. Great to give credit where it is due. However, we still want those Epstein files, bro. So, good job for now, I guess. I guess we can, drink to that, but, But anyways, because of this news, I am going to have to cut the end of what the first clip was going to be. Basically, I just went on a rant about, the possibilities of if this plan goes through or doesn't. Still, though, Israel could still be right. Bibi could still be right when he says, what if they accept the plan and then do everything that they can to go against it? That could still happen. Israel could still have their hard way victory where America was unable to intervene peacefully and Hamas retaliates and Israel does the hard thing the hard way and they just bomb it and occupy it with militarization and just ruin the entire idea and plan. At that point, I think the United States would have had enough of Israel and just be done. We'll see where it goes. I'm really rooting for the peace deal in the Middle East. It's very unfortunate to see all of these lives lost chaotically due to two ideologies that just can't seem to agree. And you could bring that to American politics. It's very sad to see that individuals suffer so deeply from ideological differences that we just kill each other. It's very unfortunate to see, and I'm very happy that President Trump is able to put an end to it, at least somewhere. It'd be great if he could do it for the United States, but at least it's happening somewhere. At least people are going to live because of this diplomacy. Possibly. Possibly. You have to give that little grain of salt because we are talking about terrorists still. But that is going to do it for today's show. I never know how to end these things. But what I will say is, Patriots, I hope you have a good day. Pray for this peace deal to work. And have a good one. I'll see you next time.